Welcome back to the deep dive. Today we've got a really fascinating source document. It's a script excerpt, actually, and it tracks this stunningly rapid transformation.
It really is.
We're following a high schooler, Jimmy, starting out in, the very safe, very predictable suburbs of Evanston, Illinois. This is 1966.
Right.
But by 1971, he is completely immersed in the extreme countercultural fringe of Chicago's Gold Coast.
And that's our mission here, really.
Yeah.
To trace how that happens so fast. This isn't just a story about a teenager, going wild. It's about distilling how a sudden shock of immense wealth.
A huge shock.
And a radical new location propelled him. We're talking about moving into a mansion across the street from Hugh Hefner. So we need to look at how that environment basically created the risk-taking, the drug use, all of it.
Okay, so let's set the baseline. We have to. What was Jimmy like back in Evanston in 66? The sources, they paint a very clear picture.
Yeah, he was a suburban kid defined by latency. He was still sort of stuck with the nerds, as the script says, because he was a late bloomer.
Late Cooper.
Right.
He was behind the curve.
Totally behind the curve. His first attempts at romance were, almost painfully awkward.
Right. There's that extremely awkward kiss with Amy.
And the ID bracelet exchange, that was the peak of his risk-taking at that point.
And even his first taste of counterculture was, a complete dud. He tries smoking some weed, some Mexican flower tops, and nothing.
He just doesn't really feel it.
Yeah.
He's trying to get there, but the suburban environment just wasn't potent enough.
But that world was about to get, just completely obliterated.
Completely. So in 1968, his mom remarries a guy named Steven. He's an insurance exec, co-owner of a baseball team. The source just casually says Steven got some dough.
Which is an understatement. This isn't just moving up a little bit. This is a socioeconomic rupture.
It is. And the new home says it all. A 4-story, half-block-long mansion from the 1880s right in the Gold Coast.
And Jimmy and his sister's reaction is just perfect. They call it a castle.
What else would you call it? And their neighbor is Hugh Hefner. The stakes are immediately, just raised to an insane level.
And the architecture of this place, this castle, it's so important. It tells a story.
Absolutely. The library has stonework and stained glass that were imported from Europe. And there's a 4-foot stone relief of the zodiac signs on the ceiling. It's all about old money, hidden history.
Speaking of hidden things, old wealth always has secrets.
Right.
And the mansion is full of them.
Exactly. Which, of course, fuels the kids' curiosity. You've got the fake bookshelf door that leads to this winding staircase.
And downstairs, there's a 6-foot-high steel bank vault door with a combination lock.
A Prohibition-era hooch stash. The house itself is just built on these layers of, sanctioned secrecy. It sets a tone right away.
So the house is a symbol of hidden power, and then the school, Providence, is where that power is protected today.
Right. Jimmy shows up, long blonde hair, boots. He's the exotic addition in this tiny class of 50 super rich kids.
And this school, it's a feeder. The source says it has the highest percentage of grads going to the Ivy League's Brown, Harvard, Yale.
It's competitive, but it's also incredibly insulated. And for Jimmy, coming from Evanston, it's just a shock.
A very hypersexualized shock. He's talking about the girls in their uniform.
And he's still a virgin at this point. He's just reeling. But he's also immediately the center of this very privileged, very intense attention.
And this is where the money really starts to warp things. He meets a kid named Bill.
Bill, who has an 18-pound, $500 titanium Raleigh bike.
Compared to Jimmy's $70 Schwinn, it's just another symbol of the massive gap.
And Bill is the one who introduces him to dealing. Jimmy buys his first $5 nickel bag of Colombian weed.
But he asks the obvious question, right? Isn't it dangerous to deal at a school like this?
And Bill's answer is basically the thesis for this whole deep dive. He says they don't really care because we're paying so much money to go there.
The wealth shield.
That's it, exactly. The parents' money buys impunity. It allows these kids to experiment with basically anything without any real fear of consequence. And for Jimmy, that just accelerates his risk-taking exponentially.
So fast forward to 1970. He's not that awkward kid anymore. We get to the John Hancock party.
70 stories up, just booze, weed, LSD. Any suburban awkwardness has been just annihilated.
Yeah, by these, organized rituals of extremity.
The source describes this incredible scene where kids strip naked, lie in a row, and one person rolls over the top of them.
While tripping.
And they experience it as 100 orgasms. It's not just a party. It's a deliberate attempt to just dissolve all boundaries.
But there's still this personal shock for him. He makes love to a girl in a dark room, thinks it's this huge cosmic thing, Adam and Eve and the Big Bang all rolled into one.
Only to find out the next day it was a freshman named Randy with braces. The sublime gets totally undercut by, high school reality.
And the drugs are escalating too. The suppliers are getting more, let's say, professional. He meets Herb.
Herb, yeah. William Burroughs and Ganesh posters on the wall. This guy's already into heroin and blue morphine.
And his stash spot is a hand-carved tiki god.
You pop the bottom off, and inside is 100% fresh Jamaican flower tops. This isn't casual use anymore. This is deep in the drug economy.
So that leads us to the Goose Lake Festival in 1970. I mean, the velocity of everything is just picking up.
It is. Before they even get to the festival, he's having sex with a girl in the Greyhound bus bathroom, lifting her onto the sink.
Oh.
His sexual awakening is just mirroring the drug use.
And the festival itself is just chaos.
Pandemonium. You have acid vendors walking around blowing kazoos yelling, LSD $1, get your acid here.
And this is where he tries MDA for the first time.
Which is important. MDA, for anyone who doesn't know, is sort of a chemical cousin to what later became ecstasy. It's an empathogen.
And he's mixing it. He splits purple haze acid and then takes 2 caps of this really pure MDA.
A guy named Libra gives it to him. And the trip is just completely disorienting. The girl's eyes turn into colored dots until she just vanishes from his perception. These are not recreational doses. This is reality destruction.
And all this personal chaos is happening against this backdrop of huge political chaos.
Right. He's watching the '68 Democratic Convention riots on TV.
But his view is filtered, right? It's filtered through his class.
It is. And the best example of that is the family maid, Harriet. She watches the riots and says, those kids are crazy, but they have the right idea. It's this perfect working-class commentary from just outside the bubble.
But Jimmy does get involved. He goes to a rally after Fred Hampton's murder.
And he sees the police riot. He sees the newspaper photos of the smiling cops afterwards. And that's a moment of really stark political clarity for him and Herb.
Because they realize, as they're running away from the violence, that their white skins are literally protecting them.
It's the other side of that wealth shield. It's not just immunity from drug busts. It's physical protection from state violence. And it forces him to confront the power structure that he's now a part of.
So by graduation in '71, he's made his choice. The principal literally uses him as a cautionary tale.
Don't be like Jimmy. He's the only kid in the entire class not going to college.
So instead of the Ivy League, he just dives deeper into even riskier circles. He meets Ronnie and Chad.
Dealers who brag about supplying Hugh Hefner with coke. It's that direct line again between the Gold Coast elite and the illegal stuff.
And he's at a party with 5 Playboy bunnies, snorting coke for the first time.
And the substance abuse is just getting reckless. I mean, truly reckless. These guys, Ronnie and Chad, are inhaling dry cleaning fluid to get a head rush.
Which leads to the hot water incident. Jimmy's high on coke and weed. He thinks the red faucet on a water dispenser is for cold water.
And just scalds his mouth. Ends up with swollen lips, gets teased at school that he looks like Zaza Gabor. It's a physical reminder of his lifestyle.
But just as the chemical chaos is peaking, the mansion itself introduces this supernatural chaos.
Yes. His mom and sister start hearing footsteps, feeling a cold chill from the empty 4th floor. The history of the house is becoming, physically present.
So they hire a medium. A woman named Marlene comes to do a seance.
And the impressions she gets are terrifying. A violent, hairy, maybe German man who pushed a woman out of a window years ago.
And the climax of this is when Jimmy's mom, Frankie, just collapses. The spirit supposedly passes right through her.
They have to give her brandy to revive her. I mean, it's a genuine ghost story, and it grounds the whole extreme nature of that house in something that isn't chemical. It's this toxic history.
And after that, Jimmy just pushes his own boundaries even further. He takes peyote,
Crushed powder.
mixed with a match head-size hit of PCP, horse tranquilizer.
That's a serious combination. PCP is the dissociative anesthetic.
Yeah.
Mixing it with a hallucinogen like peyote is just asking for extreme detachment.
And that's what he feels. Weightless, like a moving skeleton. He walks into Lake Michigan.
Believing the water and the air are the same.
And that life and death are the same. He's at this philosophical low point where he just doesn't care if he lives or dies. He has no self-preservation instinct left.
But he survives. And he starts to channel that intensity into something else. We see it with his girlfriend, Clarissa.
Who has her own dark past.
Yeah, but she's brutally honest with him. The source says she asks him, "You think you can hold your jizz for more than so many seconds this time?"
But he's a quick learner. And they have this incredibly passionate session. They achieve simultaneous orgasm. He's finally found a kind of competence, a confidence.
The physical risks don't go away, though. He and another girlfriend, Kat, are hitchhiking barefoot,
And get picked up by an undercover cop.
who threatens to plant drugs on them. This is a real threat of police violence.
So they jump out of the moving car at a red light and run barefoot down a gravel alley while he's yelling, "Stop or I'll shoot!"
You'd think that would be a wake-up call, fleeing a gun threat.
But it seems like it just reinforced their sense of invincibility, like survival itself was the high.
Which leads right into the ultimate expression of that. The 4th of July party. They take 2 hits of window pane acid.
Super potent LSD, causing major visual strobing.
And they just regress. They start letting out full monkey primal screams. They strip naked during a thunderstorm and jump into the churning lake.
As lightning is hitting the water nearby.
It's a deliberate testing of the boundary between life and death.
And he wakes up the next morning smiling, just thinking, did that really happen?
And the answer is yes. The final snapshot we get is him meeting a girl named Maggie,
A hippie chick.
who immediately, without warning, gives him really good LSD, and the cycle just continues. A wild, acid-induced love-making session where the walls are breathing and changing colors.
It's just, he used his status as the new kid to basically speedrun every single extreme of the 1970s Gold Coast.
The velocity is what's so stunning. In 3 years, he goes from ID bracelets to swimming naked in a lightning storm on acid. It's the juxtaposition. You have this elegant mansion with its European stonework, and then you have this raw, dangerous, occult reality happening inside it. The wealth didn't bring stability. It just enabled this incredibly rapid disillusionment.
So where does that leave the Jimmy character arc then?
Well, he deliberately rejected the path he was supposed to take, the Ivy League path, and chose total immersion in the chaos of the time. The war, the riots, the drugs, even the ghost in his own house. It was his own very high-stakes deep dive into reality.
So here's our final thought for you to chew on. How much of this intense, high-stakes life, the weightlessness on PCP, the primal screams in the storm, the rapid sexual education, how much of that was true self-discovery for Jimmy, a necessary breaking out of that suburban shell? And how much of it was just a purely self-destructive, maybe even inevitable reaction to the shock of the immense, twisted realities of the Gold Coast he was suddenly forced to live in?